Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce you Melinda. Melinda is a wonderful person. She is a transformational facilitator who can help people to experience the fastest, easiest path towards balancing their lives. She would most probably will tell you much better about herself. That we give her the microphone so she can tell us about her. Melinda, can you start with your childhood, please? I really would love to hear that.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Olia, for asking me to speak to your audience. I appreciate it. So hello and welcome everybody. And I would like to just introduce myself. My name is Melinda. I work as an energy facilitator for many years now. And with regard to my childhood, how this all began when I came first into this reality, my childhood was very challenging. Although, you know, when you come into this reality, it seems like, you know, you look around and you think it's normal, no matter how difficult it is, because you don't know anything else. And then you start to see how other people's realities are and you're like, oh, and then you start to go into the judgments and the conclusions of maybe my world is not so great after all. But when you're going through trauma and drama, it's more of a matter of survival than it is a matter of you know, thinking that it's a terrible thing. You just get through it. But looking back in retrospect with the difficulties, I had a very difficult father who did the best that he could with what he knew, but it was very challenging. My mother, my brother, and I lived in a tremendous amount of fear from a very young age. And I spent a lot of time, my brother was 4 years younger. So when he was born, I took it upon myself, I guess, to, you know, find ways to protect him from my father's anger and things like that. So it was a very difficult childhood, spending time feeling not just afraid, but absolutely terrified. And that just progressed. So that was something that was an ongoing thing, because we were always tiptoeing around and trying to figure out what needed to be done not to get this individual angry. And so this taught me how to become a master at observing and intuiting and getting a sense of the energy of other people. So it actually, the horrible thing that I endured helped me in many other ways as growing up. And when I was 17, my father did commit suicide, which was also very traumatizing. This was all in the news, and it was just, you know, quite humiliating and traumatizing in many layers and levels of self. And that, in effect, caused me to go into some kind of an illness that nobody knew. I went to hundreds of doctors, so many people, and so many tests. And my mother tried everything. And I had so many different symptoms. I almost went blind. I couldn't hold anything. My joints, I had this sort of rheumatoid affliction of some sort. This lasted for a year of pain and trauma and suffering. And my mother then one day decided to take me to an energy healer because she believed in this. My mother was very, you know, interested in these things. And the woman looked at me and she did some energy work, and she said, this is a result of stress. And so that was my first time I realized that the emotional state that you're in, the energy that you're being, the feelings or the emotions that you're under, the stress and the trauma that is created here affects your physical body. And I got that firsthand. And when that woman made that statement, I knew that there was a direct connection. I was 18 at that time. And from that moment, I decided to go down this path, and I read every single book on metaphysical studies, everything I could do, all kinds of different things with gurus and metaphysical teachings and ancient books and mystery school stuff. So it was very, very interesting. This is what started my road, my path, so to speak.
This is amazing story. This is amazing story.
Well, it's interesting. Wasn't pleasant going through it. However, it gave me the awareness of I could either do one of two things. I could either cry about it and make a big drama about it, or I can say, what is the gift? What is the blessing? I'm not one to like roll around in trauma and drama too much because it becomes very boring after a while. So I would rather find a way to take it and use it as a strength and see how I can change something from what it is to something else. Because I don't really particularly like those feelings of not happiness, the feelings of despair, of angst, confusion, terror, panic, the constant, the mind constantly churning and churning and churning. So these are the things that are the opposite of happiness. And so the quest to happiness, well, it's interesting. Happiness is an interesting word. This is what we are talking about in this summit. Happiness is an interesting word because when you ask most people, what is happiness? And you'll see that they'll either tell you something that they heard in a movie or something that they read or something that they think they feel. But when you ask and you really get them to get the sense of the energy of what it is, a lot of people, you start to recognize, and I work with so many people as a facilitator, facilitating them over 12 years, that you see that a lot of their responses are based on things that they've heard or they've learned or that they've been programmed or that they decided, well, this is what it must be. And then they try to make themselves be that because that's what's right or that's what it must be, as opposed to really going inside and going, okay, well, what is this actually for me? So for some people, happiness, true happiness, isn't jumping around and being exuberant. It's peace. This is happiness. And so what I like to do with my people that I work with is I like to help them to explore what it means for them and helping them not go into the judgment that, well, if it doesn't look like this, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It means this is how you're doing this energy. And to really connect them to this energy of joy, of ease, of peace, of happiness. And having said that, the interesting events didn't stop with the sickness, and eventually the sickness that I had went away actually on its own. As I was doing these studies, interestingly, the symptoms mysteriously vanished. Interesting. And so I started studying all these things, and when I got a little older, what happened was my point of view is that you create my perception, my belief is that when something is occurring in your world, it's not because it's happening to you, it's because somehow on some level you're bringing it to you. Okay, and some people don't like to hear that because they're like, well, I only do good things, and it's not good or bad. It's not making you good or bad or right or wrong. It's about what am I creating with my senses, with my energy? What am I creating with my thoughts? And I created cancer in my body. And that's where things started to get very interesting. And that's what created me, that's what took me on this much more dynamic path of energy facilitation. Prior to that, I'd been working as a senior graphic designer for over 20 years in a wonderful job, love being a graphic designer. And everything in my life changed when I got and had to go through that situation of cancer. And again, I took that situation, and instead of feeling sorry for myself, I changed it and I turned it around. And I just want to tell one quick story, if it's okay with you.
Yes, of course. Go for it.
I remember lying on the table when I had many surgeries with the cancer. I went through a lot of chemotherapy, so it was very difficult. Every time I went into the hospital for chemotherapy treatment, I was determined to change the atmosphere because I knew that I wanted to create an atmosphere around me that was peaceful and joyful and ease-filled. So if I went into the chemo place, and was like depressed and sad and oh my God, this is happening, I wasn't going to create that. So I went into this place and I thought, I was joking with the receptionist. I was asking them questions. I would bring lightness. I would make them happy. I would bring them flowers. This created more happiness in their world. And as a result, it sort of resonated with this atmosphere that I was literally walking around in, creating with me. And I was creating that with what I was deciding to do in any given moment. Now, it wasn't always that way. Not when I was in intense pain. I would stay quiet and I would have to do certain techniques and practices to deal with intense physical pain. I remember before one of the surgeries, the 5 doctors approached me all dressed in their things, and I was making jokes, and I was just, put on this little outfit, and I was pretending it was like a fashion outfit, with the blue shoes and the cap and everything. And the doctor said to me, "Are you?" They were very serious. "Are you ready? Are you?" And I looked at them and I said, "Well, are you guys ready? That's the more important question. How are you guys doing?" And I'm joking and laughing with them, and they were like looking at me like I was crazy. But I created, with that, I lightened the energy, because I had the idea, if these people are relaxed and happy, if these people are at ease, if these people are connecting with me in a space of joy, my surgery is going to go a whole lot better.
Perfect.
and so what I did was, it was so funny. I was lying there on the table. They wheeled me into this operating room. There's big lights, and you see it's very intense. The energy there was very, very intense. The doctor was very focused. She was amazing. You see these instruments on the table. They look like, saws and scary stuff. And they didn't want me to see that too much. And I'm lying down on the table, and the anesthesiologist is about to put this thing on my face. And I sat up and I said, "Can I just say something?" So I sat up. This is not something that people usually do before surgery. I got up and I said to everybody, "Can I have your attention, please?" I said, "Listen, I know that this is a difficult situation for all of you, and I want to tell all of you, I'm sorry, I just get a little emotional about this because it created such a beautiful atmosphere." I said to them, "Listen, I am so grateful for you. I am so grateful that you're here for me in this time. And I so appreciate everything that you're doing. And I just want to tell you that I'm so happy that we're doing this together. This is going to be awesome. Every one of you is going to be great." And I sent out from my heart this pulse of gratitude and joy. And I said to them, "Okay, everybody, let's rock and roll." And then I laid down and I had my surgery. And as a result, my the surgery was 2 hours less. It was more complicated than some surgeries, and it was 2 hours less, no complications, and the whole atmosphere around me as I was waking up, the people coming in, the surgical team, the level of kindness, the level of grace that was in my world was really amazing, because I was choosing to be this for them and not go into that, "Oh, I'm so terrible things are happening." I was choosing to be this. You can die crying and complaining and feeling sorry for yourself, or you can die this a completely different way and say, "Hey, this is it. Whether this is the last breath of life, this is what I'm going to say. This is how I'm going to be. And this is it. I get to choose that." And so when you're, with regards to happiness, you can either allow your mind to go down one path, or you can say, "You know what? I'm not doing that. I'm going to do something different." And I know it's difficult. Like, trust me, 9 rounds of chemo and what I've been through in my life, I know it's hard. I know what hard feels like. I know what suffering feels like. I know what it feels like when your child of 3 years old looks you in the eye and says, "Mommy, are you going to die?" I know what this feels like. And you still have a choice as to how you're going to respond. You're going to either respond to that in a way, or you're going to react. Okay. And so I've trained myself over the years through these situations, through my learnings, through the things that I've been taught, and through the things that I've practiced and studied, how to shift from going down this space where you can, you're in a lot of pain. I've been there. I for sure have been feeling sorry for myself or upset, but I don't stay there for very long. I move out of that. And I don't tell myself I don't beat myself up for going down that road of feeling sad and feeling lonely and feeling depressed or whatever. I let myself be that. I give myself the space to be that. And then I say, okay, now what can we do that's different here? What else can we do here? And then I choose something else. And it's not as hard as you think. The thing is, you have to learn how to master the mind and not allow the mind to control you. This is the number one key. Sorry, I went on a
No, that's good. That was so good. Thank you so much. I was just listening to you and thinking, I'm really interested to learn what you're teaching people now. You obviously have all these skills, all this knowledge for so many years. And I see you created a beautiful website, and there are some sort of information there, so I can guess what you're teaching people. But can you tell me a little bit more about what you're teaching?
Well, there's many things. I do heart imagery. I have a lot of modalities that I work with. But to keep it very, very simple, first of all, I want to just explain, one of the problems where we get into is that we think that things should be not the way that they are. I should not have the sickness. I should not be in the situation. When your perception changes, when your thoughts change, literally your entire world, your atmosphere, the atmosphere around you, your world starts to change regardless of what's happening. Okay. And we want to apply this to everyday life. So the first thing I like to teach people to do is to get out of this, when people are really afraid or in this fight, flight, or survival mechanism, what we have to do is we have to, first of all, interrupt the pattern. What's the pattern? The pattern is a thought that keeps looping over and over. And it's like so strong. It's like a train that's running so fast. And we have so much difficulty to stop this train from going down this direction so dynamically. So this train is going because we are motivated by survival. And things that come from the outside trigger us into this fight or flight, keeping us away from this happiness. Okay, so you have to recognize that the very nature of life is uncertainty, and we are faced every day with uncertainty. Okay, and we have a mind that's constantly trying to protect and preserve. So if you live in a world that's uncertain, which we do, and you have a mind that's always trying to figure out how to find safety and certainty, then conflict is going to start to show up. Okay, and you can't be happy in this energy. So many people try all these steps to conquer this, but they try to outsmart this. They try to fool themselves or trick themselves and figure out a way to create this peace or this calm by figuring out what they're going to be able to do to create a future that's safe and secure. You can't do that because it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so one of the steps that I like to do with people, one of the most simplest things you can do is using a mudra like this, and you just simply breathing in, breathing out. Alternate nostril breathing. This is not something that is so unique. This is something that's been around for thousands of years, but it works. Why does it work? Because the second that you're able to breathe in, breathe out, and bring all of your attention on this energy, you're going to interrupt the tidal wave of emotion and feelings and thoughts. Either stop what you're doing, recognize that you're in the middle of this crazy, and so it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to increase your parasympathetic nervous system. It's going to calm down your fight flight response. It's going to balance the left and right centers of your brain. It's going to oxygenate your body. Okay. Your body does when it's running from bears, when it's terrified. your body, you tell your body, when you do this breathing, you're literally telling your body it's going to be okay. You're talking to your body. You're giving it a signal. So very, very simple. You got to get in touch with your body. Most of us are not in touch with our body until we create something crazy like cancer. And then we're like, oh, now I'm going to pay attention to my body. Okay, so most of us pay attention to our bodies, but we make our body wrong. How many times we look at our body, I hate you. Why are you not doing this? Stuff yourself into a pair of shoes because I want you to do that. Eat this food because I have emotional issues and I want to feel happy, so I'm going to eat a whole chocolate cake. This is not kindness, this is violence on the body. So we want to start to really have a more of a communion with the body. Okay, so simple tool. Okay, second tool, very, very simple. This is the age-old thing that has been around for thousands of years. Tibetan heart imagery, which is something that I'm also teaching. The Tibetan monks will do something. They will ask a question to get you to not so much think about a solution, but to activate more of your heart, more of your knowing. What I would do is I would get a person to start to really question, ask the question, what is really true? So you've done your breathing, now ask, what is really true about what's going on here? Calm yourself down and ask, what's really true about what's going on here? And we're not trying to figure things out. Now, asking questions is something that's been around for such a long time. Abraham and Esther Hicks have written this book, Ask and It Is Given. This is biblical. Ask and you shall receive. Christian revivalists use questions constantly with regard to this. And Tibetan monks will ask questions that will not stimulate your mind to think, but will stir you to go into your heart. And why do they do that? Because your heart activates your knowing, what you know, not what you think. Possibly they would ask the question is, what is your heart showing you? And so, or they'll ask something where you're going to go into this knowing, and this knowing is this awareness, is that wisp of energy. It's not coming from here. It's just this sense. And this is how we want to use questions. So asking this question, what's really going on here? Okay, what else can I do right now? What else can I do right now that's not this? What else can I do right now? Because you're looking for something different. When I walked into that room and with the chemotherapy people and the nurse was being, the receptionist is in a bad mood and the nurse is in a bad mood, I'm not going in there going, oh, well, this sucks and blah, 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 and this is terrible and this is going to be awful. I'm going there, okay, I can feel this. What atmosphere can I create here? My little atmosphere, my little bubble. What can I create here that's going to create something different? I don't know what that's going to be. I can't figure it out. However, I can get the sense in my body, I'm going to smile at this person. I'm just going to stand in front of this person and be this energy. And this one's going to just calm right down. Okay, so number one, change the pattern, interrupt the pattern. Number two, ask, what is the truth about this situation? And you will notice a lot of the times you will recognize that you're telling a story about the situation. When you ask what is really true, you start to step a little bit back and you start to see a little bit more clearly. And this is called disidentifying with your mind, with the story, the narrative, the script that you're telling.
It's wonderful.
Very simple. Keep it simple.
Melinda, I want to tell you, you know how I found you? Because your face radiates light. And do you remember this book? You were participating in a book with 18 experts.
Oh, yes, yes.
The Energy of Happiness, the book name. But I chose you because energy I feel This is how
Oh, beautiful.
I
Yes, I
chose.
remember this. Yes, yes, I remember. Incidentally, I also designed the book cover.
Is it?
Yeah, so I still did that too because I love doing anything that I love doing. I'm going to be doing that because it makes me happy. Not because it's going to create, I don't do it because it's going to make me money. I do it because it's going to make me happy. And because of that, money starts to flow into my world. It's very interesting how this works. It's quite wonderful when you can get that sense of not what happiness is based on what somebody else tells you or what you're supposed to know happiness is or what happiness has to be or what this fairy tale said or what this movie told you happiness is. You've got to get what it is for you, and no matter what it is, even if it's so different from everybody else, it doesn't matter. That's your version. And each person has their own unique, like a snowflake, unique imprint, unique signature, unique resonance of happy. I'm not happy every single second of my life, but let me tell you, I spend a lot of my time in this space of what I call, I guess you term happiness. And if I'm not there, okay. And then I ask, well, what can I do today? What can I choose? What can I be that's going to create more of what I desire? And what do I desire? Well, I desire today peace. I desire today joy. I desire this. And let me tell you, it's a lot of fun to live in that space when and it's peaceful for other people. It contributes to other people when someone's freaking out and you could just have this atmosphere around you. And if they want to calm down, they can. If they don't, okay. But I'm not changing my atmosphere. I'm staying in this bubble of happy. They want to join me, great. If they don't want to, I'm not going to do that, what they're doing. I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm going to invite people. If you would like this, come and have it. If you don't, okay, cool, it's great, no problem. But I would rather invite people than try to force people and preach at people, this is what you have to do to be happy. You don't want it, you don't want it, that's okay. So that's my philosophy.
We get in to the last minutes of our show. I have one last question to you. Can you please give me a few, say 3 clients of yours, and to just, draw the picture so we can understand what you can fix, what you treat, what
Okay,
you
so
do.
without saying names, because I don't want
Yes,
to
of course,
disturb
you
the
don't
privacy.
want. Yes.
Okay, so a couple, let me just say, okay, so one lady, okay, so, oh, they're all popping in my head. So one lady, we started off with her, she had very severe issues with food. She couldn't eat in public. She would always throw up. She was very underweight. She was terrified with the food. So we worked with her with that. And so she was able to eat anywhere, anything at any time. This was a huge deal. Then underneath that, she was terrified about going into a hospital. And so her mother got sick, so she had to go to hospital. So we had to clear all of these issues. And so we worked with her to clear all of those issues. And then with regard to that, she had a fear of knives as well for some reason. And so what I did was I work with her in there's many layers, things get uncovered. But I look at the energy, I ask questions, and I work with many different modalities to go and look in the ancestral lines, to go and take a look at what's happening behind the scenes, what their programming is, what's going on in the subconscious. I work with people. I don't do for the people. I work with them to unravel energies, to relax energies, to unwind energies that are not working for them. And I help them, show them that they have the power within them to create something different in their world. And that's where the magic begins. When they start to recognize, oh, I can do this. That's my greatest joy. So with her, she's now, and also she also had issue. She was having difficulty conceiving a child, and that was a big deal. So we worked for 6 months on that, 6 months to a year on that, and she's happily going to be giving birth in a couple of weeks. So she creates, her life is so magical right now compared to where it used to be. It's so magical that she doesn't even share all of it with her friends because they get jealous. So, It's really wonderful. Another client, wonderful lady. For many years, she had hoarding issues. She would have her home was very cluttered with stuff, and she was literally terrified of things that were in the boxes, and she was afraid to even look. And she so much stuff at one point she couldn't open her cupboard, the closet, because there was too much stuff in the way. And so I kept on asking, and I kept letting go. I didn't try to force her. I kept on inviting her. Whenever I had an opportunity, I would invite, but we had to release layers and layers of fears, many other issues, that things showed up, like things with her mother and things with her father and things with her childhood. As we unlocked all of this and we started to unravel this and empowered her to know that she can choose something different, she actually turned around and she has now cleared her entire apartment because she's decided to renovate. Her apartment's actually empty, and she's renovating her condo. And now she's putting stuff back. She looks at it and she goes, I don't even want that stuff in my house anymore. And this was truly a miracle, because this woman was really, I thought, okay, well, it is what it is. Whether she chooses it or not, it's up to her. But this was a complete 180-degree shift. And she now is saying to me, I want people to come over. Before, she was humiliated, embarrassed, and frightened to have anybody, even a pizza delivery, to see her house. And now she wants to invite people in. So it was amazing, amazing transformation with her. And another one, just a brief, quickly, you said 3, a little girl, 5 years old. The mother was very frantic. The child was born with heart problem, and the child had surgery at birth, and the child bone, the bone is still very protruding because of the cracking the bones, and so there's pain or discomfort. And but the child's heart still, there was some issues. The heart, it was getting too big, and when the heart is too big, I'm just going to briefly, it can't pump like it's supposed to. It can just pump like this, and this can cause a lot of problems, which I don't really fully understand. I'm not a doctor. And so what we did was we worked energetically with this little girl, releasing things from her heart, from past life experiences. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. Past life experiences that this little child had such a big heart. She just wanted to take on, she would go to family members and literally take on their problems and try to kiss them and hug them and make them feel better. And so her heart was getting increasingly more, there was more problems. So we worked energetically on many different ways, many different tools, doing different things, body things, awareness things. And this child is now still alive, thank you God, still alive, doing very, very well. And her heart is stable. Of course, working with doctors, and really interesting with the question, we were constantly asking questions for God, universe, divine energy, to show us miracle solutions, miracle creative solutions for people to show up to help us. And you would not believe the amazing things that all of a sudden someone would recommend something and it would lead to something else and to something else. And we together, the 3 of us, mother, myself, and the child, working, creating her back into health. So these are the 3 ones that just popped up in my awareness.
This is just amazing, Melinda. I have one last question though, the very last. You offered our VIP clients amazing gifts. Can you explain a little bit about each of your gifts, because they are amazing? And I looked at them.
I have to remember what they are. I think the first one is an audio, an MP3 audio. It's not super long, so you can listen to it every day. It's to help you release the energy of anxiety. Just listen. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go through you don't need to know complicated things. Just listen and allow yourself to relax. Anyways, to everybody, I would suggest do this breathing every morning when you wake up. Start the day this way, with this relaxed space. You'd be surprised, you'd be shocked how many people wake up stressed out. So this is an anti-stress audio that you can listen to. The second one is for new people that I have never met before are welcome to do a brief, 30 minutes consultation with me. You can, on my website, I think there's a link that you have there that they could just fill out a form so I could see who they are and how I'm supposed to contact them. And they can just fill out that form and I can set up a session with them. And I'm happy to do it for free, just to get the ball rolling for them, to help them, give them some tools, some practice to move forward in their life. I'm more than happy to do that. And then the third thing, which is really fun, is I'm doing a free Zoom call on May 6th it is, and Eastern time, I believe 7 p.m. And this is going to be about this 5 steps, 5 keys into immediately shifting your energy from where you are. Let's say if you're in a stressed, depressed, anxious, upset place, to immediately in 5 steps, following this, sort of, a way of doing things that is not covering up or not trying to figure out, but just to unravel and unrelease and then go in a different direction. These steps I did as well. All these things I'm telling people are things I've done to get through cancer, to get through chemotherapy, to get through panic attacks, to get through all the traumas that I've experienced in my life. I use these tools myself. So I'm sharing these in briefly, and I'm going over this in detail in this particular free call so that people can figure out how to do it. We'll do it together and easy peasy. So that's the invitation and the gift and the contribution that I would like to give to everybody. And yeah, and I'm doing that because it's fun.
This is amazing. This is amazing gifts, guys. This is amazing gifts. Thank you so much, Melinda.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
We managed to be right on time.
Yes, wonderful.
And
thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Look forward to see you again. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.